Good morning. It's a beautiful day to play some guitar. I get asked about this a lot, and I thought I might make a video about it. And this will be one of the first videos on my channel. Thanks for watching if you're here. My name's Tommy, and I was born with perfect pitch. Well, what is perfect pitch? That's what this video is going to be about. That first answer, we'll come back to it because that's going to be a little bit of a lengthy answer. And for brevity's sake, I'll move on to the second question. Is that a real thing, and can you prove it? And yes, it is a real thing, is the short answer. Evidently, a very small population are born with perfect pitch, and evidently, it's something that you can't be taught or you can't practice and learn. It's something that you're either born with or you're not. The only way that I could think of to demo this in a video that would be, accurate or reliable for you, the viewer, because, it's pretty easy to make that stuff fake or contrived in a video, is this idea that I have, and I've never tried this before, so bear with me. We'll see if this works. So first of all, I want to show you that I'm just playing an acoustic electric guitar, but it is not plugged into anything, and I'm going to remove the battery compartment completely so that the tuner will be completely disabled. I'm borrowing this guitar. I don't even know that the tuner works on it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is blindfold myself with this absolutely adorable bunny ear thing of my stepdaughter's. So, make sure we're still rolling. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is just randomly detune, uptune, whatever, the guitar strings. Yeah, that sounds pretty nasty. All right, so now here we go. I am totally blind, I can't see a thing, and I'm gonna try and tune the strings individually. So here we go, and I'll go from the bottom up. Back to E standard, or A440. That's your B, here's your G string, D, close. Okay, now since I brought the guitar back up to pitch, it's gonna take it a few go rounds for it to be in really good tune. So let me try that one more time. Oh, well, I said I'd do them individually. Here we go. See how close I was. I was pretty close. I still hear some phasing in there. It sounds like the B and the, yeah, that's it right there. That one's out. But let's see how close I was. There we go. Okay, let's try something here. I'm gonna try and hit a and I'll even fret it from the top here so I'm not muscle memory familiar with it. I'll fret a random note and I'll tell you what note it is just by listening. E flat, E flat, G, B, G, F sharp. That's a G or an A flat. Yeah, it's a G. That's an F. That's a G. That's an E. F, of course, because I felt the nut there. That's a B flat. That's an E. Now, let me try a couple together. See if I can, wow, this is difficult with a blindfold on. Hold on. Okay, so that's about like I expected, a diminished F sharp. So F sharp, B, and F sharp. And okay, let me try. That's a E flat, a G, and a C. Okay, now how about, that's an A, an F sharp, and a C sharp. A, F sharp, C sharp. That's kind of pretty, actually. All right, So, just in case you don't believe me, let me try that one more time. Okay, now, whatever random notes I just detuned that to, here are the notes that I just tuned it to. That's a sharp D. I'd say that's a D on the sharper side. Sharp G. Not a G sharp, but a sharper G. That's a C, again, sharp. That's an F sharp. That's a B flat and a D. And now if I just fret, that's going to be... Actually, let me try it held out. That's more difficult, but let me try it. Yeah, that's too many notes. Hold on. And because they're not in intonation with each other, that's kind of mind screwy. So let me try 3 at a time. That's an A, I guess. Yeah, and then a D and a flat G. It's messing with me because they're not in tune with each other. And then that's a C sharp and an F and a, right? Yeah, C sharp and an F and an A. Yeah, C sharp, F, and A. Okay. Phew. Enough of that. My eyelashes are getting to me. Whew. So anyway, that's a demo on perfect pitch. And so what does that translate into as... Ooh, eyes are adjusting. What does that translate into as a musician? So perfect pitch is a strange advantage to a musician because it allows you can listen to any song you've never heard before, and I can tell you what key it's in. I can tell you the key signature. I can tell you all the chord changes. I can tell you what every instrument is playing. Not simultaneously, of course, but it's pretty easy for me to pick up musical concepts. It always has been. I've played guitar for 22 years. I've played piano about the same amount of time, but not as much. Guitar is my main instrument, always has been. I also play the bass guitar. I play piano or banjo. I dabble in the drums a little bit. And I have tried multiple other instruments, but I wouldn't say that I play them, right? But I have tried and picked up multiple instruments. In fact, short funny story. One time I was playing like an open mic or something. It might have even been a gig, but either way, an accordion player of all things showed up to this gig. And if you're watching this and you remember me, hey. But he showed up and he joined us for a couple of songs with his accordion. And no, we were not a polka band. It was rock and roll. But after the gig or on a set break or whatever, I asked him if I could pick it up and mess around with it for a minute. And he said, why, sure, go ahead. And he kind of had a smug look on his face, like, yeah, all right, kid, give it a shot, right? So I picked it up, and because I know a little bit of piano, and I knew that you had to squeeze the bellows, I think I set up or something like that. I mean, it took a couple of squeezes to figure it out, but I started playing a melody. Oh, and it made him so mad because here's this guy who's middle-aged or more and who's like obviously been playing the accordion a long time. He was very good. And I told him I'd never played and I picked it up and I didn't embarrass him, not at all, but I think I made him angry. But, just goofing around on the thing. And I'm not the only person. Everybody that has perfect pitch probably has some degree of that ability. More than likely, because again, we can just hear it. We don't have to really think about it that much, except for translating it to the instrument. That's the thing to practice. But as far as learning and understanding the music, there's only so much required of somebody with perfect pitch to be able to get to the point where you understand it. In other words, it's a lot easier for people who have perfect pitch. The other thing is that it doesn't really fade off or go away. That reference point remains constant in your brain. And, for me, I don't think I've ever gone longer than a few days without hearing music. And that's when I was like camping or something. But in theory, if you were to take somebody with perfect pitch and put us on a deserted island for 10 years with no music at all, no pitch references at all, theoretically, you could come pick us up on your boat and we could still hum an A440 pretty close to perfect. There's probably some room for error there, for some drift or whatever, but then as soon as I hear a song in standard, it's gonna be accurate. So what is relative pitch? Well, relative pitch means that you have trained your ears over time, however much or little time that might take a given person will vary widely. But that means that you have trained your ear, trained your brain to remember the pitches and the names of the notes and what they are. And to be fair, people with perfect pitch have to know what the names of those notes are. But once you know, you never forget. That's the thing about perfect pitch. But then let's say just your average Joe who has an average ear or a musical ability, who's maybe, say, been playing for about a year, okay, and learning their instrument, still in the infancy of their learning, right? They might be able to play a G chord in tune on their guitar, play a nice G chord, and then go away for a few minutes, an hour maybe, and then still hum that G chord. That's very good relative pitch. And I wouldn't expect anybody with relative pitch to be able to do it much longer after that, because a lot of time it will start to fall away. I happen to know somebody, a musician friend of mine, who I've played with several times and known for many years. Several. I've played with hundreds of times and known him for many years. He has the best relative pitch I've ever seen, ever heard. And without any reference, he can get very, very close. And sometimes he might be off by a semitone, a half step, or sometimes he'll be right on the money. But I know it's not perfect pitch because I've given him that test and it doesn't work, whereas I can pass the test every time. But relative pitch is what most people in the world, musician or not, that is what most people have in their brain, is relative pitch. Perfect pitch is exceedingly rare. Second only to perfect pitch in rarity is going to be tone deaf. And that's not meant to be offensive. That's just the only way that I know to refer to it. There are some people in the world that can't hear pitch, that just can't differentiate between the notes. They hear that there's music going on and they hear the rhythm, but they can't differentiate, let alone reproduce those notes. They couldn't tell you the difference. They just know that maybe that one note is higher than the other, right? Or lower than the other. They can tell that much. But in terms of, even if they try to learn, I have seen people and known people that just literally can't carry a tune in a bucket. And that has all to do with your brain chemistry. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a neurologist. I couldn't tell you why that is. But it's all brain chemistry, I'm sure. Basically, most people, like 95% of the people in the world, are either in the category of relative pitch or tone deaf. And then there's a very finite category that's in the perfect pitch category. I'm one of the people who are lucky enough to be in that category. And it's, like I said, it's just something that you're born with. It's yet to be proven that it could be learned or adapted. And if somebody out there knows about somebody who has learned demonstrable perfect pitch that can be repeatedly demonstrated, I would love to know about it because that's very interesting. I would love to be proven wrong on that point. If somebody knows, please comment. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.